I was sprawled on my bed binge-watching some mindless show when a frantic pounding on my door jolted me out of my stupor. "Who the hell?" I muttered, dragging myself to the door. When I swung it open, this guy practically fell into my apartment. He looked like death warmed over, blood everywhere, muttering gibberish. "Whoa, buddy, you okay? Need me to call someone?" I asked, trying to steady him. He gripped my arm, eyes wild. "No police. No hospital," he gasped, then promptly passed out at my feet. "Shit," I hissed, glancing down the hallway. Empty, thank God. I hauled him inside and locked the door. As I cleaned him up, my mind raced. Who was this guy? What kind of trouble was he in? Part of me knew I should call the cops, but curiosity got the better of me. When he finally came to, I handed him some water. "So, want to tell me why you're bleeding all over my apartment?" The guy sat up, wincing. "Thanks for the water. Name's Derek." "Tristan," I replied, eyeing him warily. "So, Derek, what's your deal?" He sighed, rubbing his face. "Jumped out of a moving car." "You what?" I blurted. "Why the hell would you do that?" "It's complicated. Family stuff," he mumbled. I snorted. "Yeah, no shit. Look, I can't be harboring a criminal or something." Derek's eyes flashed. "It's not like that. My stepdad, he's not who everyone thinks he is." Cryptic much. I rolled my eyes. "Whatever. You can crash here tonight, but tomorrow you're out." As I tossed him a blanket, I caught a glimpse of gratitude in his eyes. It stirred something in me, a feeling I hadn't experienced in ages. The next morning I found Derek in the kitchen, attempting to cook. "You don't have to do that," I said, surprised. He shrugged. "Least I could do. I really appreciate you helping me out." As we ate, he slowly opened up about his mom's death and his suspicions about his stepdad. Despite my better judgment, I found myself getting drawn into his story. "All right," I sighed against my own common sense. "You can stay another day, but we're gonna figure this shit out." That night, while Derek slept, I finally got my Wi-Fi working again. Big mistake. My phone lit up with alerts, and there he was, Derek's face plastered all over the news. Shit, I muttered, scrolling through the articles. Rich kid gone bad, drugs, theft from his stepdad. It was all there. When morning came, I cornered him in the kitchen. "So wanna explain why your headline news?" Derek's face fell. "You found out." "Yeah, no shit. You stealing from daddy to fund your habit?" His eyes flashed. "It's not like that. I told you my stepdad." "Save it." I cut him off. "You need to leave. Now." He grabbed my arm. "Please just listen. I swear I'm not on drugs. I've been investigating my mom's death and what? Your stepdad's trying to shut you up." I scoffed. "Exactly," he said, his voice dead serious. I stared at him, torn. Part of me wanted to kick him out, but something in his eyes. "Fine," I sighed. "You've got 5 minutes to convince me." As Derek spilled his story, I felt my world tilting. Yacht accidents, frame jobs, rehab setup. It was like something out of a movie. "Jesus," I breathed when he finished. "You're in deep shit, aren't you?" He nodded, looking lost. Before I knew what I was doing, I pulled him into a hug. "All right," I said, surprising myself. 1 week. You've got 1 week to figure this out." The relief on his face made my heart do a weird flip. What the hell was I getting myself into? For the next few days, Derek and I fell into a weird routine. He'd cook surprisingly well for a rich kid, I'd work, and we'd spend nights piecing together his mom's case. One evening, as we pored over documents, he asked, "What about you? Any family?" I snorted. "No, just me. Grandma raised me, but she's gone now." Derek's hand found mine. "I'm sorry. Looks like we're both alone, huh?" The touch sent a jolt through me. I pulled away, clearing my throat. "Yeah, well, let's focus on your mess." But as days passed, I found myself opening up more. We'd swap stories, laugh over dumb jokes. It felt nice, normal. Then came the knock on my door. "Tristan, it's Mrs. Nosy Neighbor. I know you have someone in there." "Shit," I hissed, shoving Derek into my bedroom. "Coming." I opened the door, plastering on a fake smile. "Can I help you?" She peered past me. "You know the rules. No overnight guests without approval." "No one's here," I lied. "Just me and my excessive garbage." Versus her eyes narrowed. "I'm watching you." After she left, Derek emerged, looking guilty. "I'm causing you trouble." "It's fine," I said, surprising myself. "We just need to be more careful." That night, as we sat on the couch, Derek suddenly turned to me. "Why are you helping me? You barely know me." I shrugged, avoiding his gaze. "I don't know. Maybe I'm tired of being alone." Before I could react, he leaned in and kissed me. For a moment, I let myself melt into it. Then reality hit. I jerked back. "What the hell?" "I'm sorry," Derek stammered. You thought wrong," I snapped, even as my lips tingled. This isn't some romantic adventure, all right? We're trying to clear your name, that's it. But as I stormed off to bed, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was lying to myself. The next morning was awkward as hell. Derek couldn't look me in the eye, and I busied myself with anything to avoid talking about the kiss. I'm meeting the investigators today, he finally said, breaking the silence. Want me to come? I offered, surprising myself. He shook his head. You've done enough. I can't risk you getting more involved. As he left, I felt a knot in my stomach. What if something happened to him? Hours crawled by. I paced, checked my phone obsessively. When he finally walked in, I nearly tackled him with relief. Jesus, you're okay, I breathed. He grinned. Worried about me? Shut up, I mumbled, stepping back. What happened? His face lit up. They're close, Tristan. Really close to nailing my stepdad. That night, as we celebrated with cheap beer, the tension from the kiss faded. We talked, laughed, and somehow ended up cuddling on the couch. This okay? Derek asked softly. I nodded, too comfortable to overthink it, but our bubble burst the next morning with an email from my building's committee. Fuck, I groaned, showing Derek. They're onto us. We got a strike. His face fell. I should go. I'm causing you too much trouble. No, I said firmly, surprising myself again. We're in this together now. We'll just be more careful. As I headed to work, my nosy neighbor cornered me in the hallway. First, careful, she hissed. Your little boyfriend has people looking for him. First, my blood ran cold. Had Derek's stepdad found us? Be careful, someone might know you're here. All day at work, I was on edge. When I finally got home and saw police cars outside my building, my heart stopped. There he is, my neighbor shouted, pointing at me. Before I could react, cops were slapping cuffs on me. Over their shoulders, I saw Derek being dragged out, struggling. He's innocent, I yelled. You don't understand. But they weren't listening. As they shoved me into a squad car, all I could think was, what the hell have I gotten myself into? The holding cell was cold and reeked of piss. I paced, my mind racing. Where was Derek? What were they doing to him? Phone call. A gruff voice announced, opening the cell. I dialed the number Derek had given me in case of emergency. Guess this qualified. Hello? A crisp voice answered. This is Tristan. I'm a friend of Derek's. We've been arrested. There was a pause. They put, don't say anything. I'll handle this. True to his word, the lawyer had me out in record time. But Derek was nowhere to be seen. Where is he? I demanded. The lawyer's face was grim. We don't know. He's not in the system. My blood ran cold. His stepdad. It has to be him. We raced to Derek's family estate, but it was empty. No Derek, no stepdad. The yacht, I blurted, remembering Derek's story about his mom. Could they be there? The lawyer made some calls, and soon we were speeding towards the marina. As we approached, I saw two figures in the distance. There, I shouted, jumping out before the car fully stopped. I sprinted towards them, heart pounding. Derek's stepdad was holding some papers, his face twisted in anger. Look, I'm giving you a chance, he was saying. Take the money and disappear. You killed my mother, Derek spat back. I skidded to a stop beside them. It's over, I panted. The police are on their way. The stepdad's eyes narrowed. Who the hell are you? Someone who knows the truth, I said, standing tall. He lunged for Derek, but I was faster. We grappled, the sound of sirens growing louder. Suddenly, Derek cried out, Tristan, watch out. I felt a sharp pain, then everything went black. When I came to, I was in a hospital bed. Derek was beside me, his eyes red-rimmed. Hey, I croaked. He grabbed my hand. You idiot. You could have been killed. I had managed a weak smile. Couldn't let you have all the excitement. As he filled me in Dubois, his stepdad arrested, the truth about his mom finally out. I felt a weight lift. So what now, I asked. Derek's thumb traced circles on my palm. Now, we figure us out, if you want to, that is. I tugged him closer. Yeah, I said softly, I think I do. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Derek's stepdad's trial dominated the news, and suddenly I was thrust into a world I'd never imagined. You don't have to come, Derek said as we got ready for court one morning. I straightened his tie. I'm not letting you face this alone. In the courtroom, I watched Derek testify, his voice steady as he recounted everything. When he finished, our eyes met, and I saw the relief wash over him. Outside reporters swarmed us. Derek, how does it feel to clear your name? Will you take over the family business? I started to pull him away, but he surprised me by speaking up. The truth is, he said, I've lost everything, but I've also found something invaluable. His hand found mine, and my heart skipped. Later at my tiny apartment, Derek slumped on the couch. It's really over. I sat beside him. So, what now, rich boy? Back to your penthouse? He looked away. About that, the company's gone. Stepdad's corruption ran deep. I'm basically broke. Shit, I muttered, I'm sorry. He shrugged. Honestly, it's kind of a relief. I never wanted that life. I nudged him. Well, welcome to the Broke Club. First lesson, appreciation for instant noodles. That got a laugh out of him, and as our eyes met, the air seemed to crackle. Slowly, he leaned in. This time, I didn't pull away. The kiss was soft, tentative, nothing like our first rushed one. When we parted, Derek's eyes were questioning. Is this okay? I nodded, a bit dazed. Yeah, more than okay. He grinned, pulling me closer. Good, because I've wanted to do that again since that first night. As things heated up, a nagging thought made me pause. Wait, you said before you weren't sure if you like guys. Derek's face reddened. I think you might be the exception. Smooth talker, I laughed, but inside, my heart was doing somersaults. We spent the rest of the night talking, laughing, and making out like teenagers. For the first time in years, I felt truly alive. As we lay tangled together, Derek murmured, thank you. For everything. I kissed him softly. Just don't make jumping out of moving cars a habit, okay? His laughter vibrated against my chest, and I knew whatever came next, we'd face it together. Continuing from the previous intimate moment, here's beat 8. The next morning, I woke up to the smell of coffee and Derek's warmth beside me. For a moment, it felt surreal. Morning, he murmured, nuzzling my neck. I turned to face him. So, this is really happening. He grinned. Looks like it. Problem. I shook my head, pulling him closer. Nope, just checking. We spent the day in our little bubble, ordering takeout and binge-watching shows. It felt normal, nice. But reality came knocking, literally, that evening. Tristan, open up. It was my nosy neighbor again. I groaned, untangling myself from Derek. Coming. She glared as I opened the door. I saw the news. You're harboring that criminal. Ex-criminal, I corrected. And it's none of your business. I'm reporting this to the committee, she huffed. I felt a hand on my shoulder. Derek stepped up beside me. Ma'am, he said politely, I understand your concern. But I assure you, everything's been cleared up. She blinked, clearly thrown by his triumph. We'll be out of your hair soon anyway, I added. I'm looking for a new place. After she left, Derek turned to me. You're moving? I shrugged. Can't stay here with these busybodies. Plus, might be nice to have a fresh start. His eyes lit up. Together? Versus the word hung between us, full of possibility and a hint of fear. Yeah, I said, surprising myself. If you want. Derek's kiss was answer enough. The next few days were a blur of apartment hunting and stolen moments. But as we toured yet another overpriced shoebox, reality set in. Derek, I sighed. I can't afford half of these places. He hesitated. I might have a solution. But you have to promise not to freak out. I raised an eyebrow. Okay? He pulled out his phone, showing me a bank statement. My jaw dropped. Holy shit, I thought you were broke. He winced. Not exactly. I have my trust fund. I wanted to start over, without all that baggage. I stepped back, mind reeling. So you've been lying this whole time? No, I didn't want it to change things between us. I ran a hand through my hair, conflicted. I need some air. As I stormed out, I heard Derek call after me. But I kept walking, trying to sort out the mess of emotions in my head. I wandered the streets for hours, my mind a jumbled mess. The sun was setting when I finally found myself back at my apartment building. Derek was sitting on the steps, looking miserable. He jumped up when he saw me. Tristan, I'm so sorry. I should have told you. I held up a hand. Let's talk inside. Once in my tiny living room, we faced each other. The silence was deafening. Why didn't you tell me? I finally asked. Derek sighed. At first, I was scared. I didn't know if I could trust you. Then, I liked that you saw me, not my money. I nodded slowly. I get that. But relationships are built on trust, Derek. I know, he said, reaching for my hand. No more secrets, I promise. I let him take it, feeling the warmth of his touch. Okay, but we do this right. No more lies, no matter how small. He nodded eagerly. Absolutely. So, are we okay? I pulled him closer. We will be. But you're buying dinner for like a month. His laugh was music to my ears. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. We found a modest but nice apartment, a far cry from Derek's old penthouse, but a step up from my shoebox. Moving day arrived, and as we carried boxes up endless stairs, the elevator was conveniently out of order. I couldn't help but laugh. What's so funny? Derek panted, hefting a heavy box. Just thinking, I grinned. A few months ago, I was a lonely bookkeeper. Now I'm moving in with an ex-fugitive millionaire. He set down the box, pulling me close. Regrets? I kissed him softly. Not a single one. That night, sprawled on our new bed, surrounded by unpacked boxes, Derek turned to me. Hey, I've been thinking, what if we started a business together? I propped myself up on an elbow. What kind of business? A detective agency, he said, eyes shining. We make a pretty good team, solving mysteries and all. I laughed. You're serious? He nodded. Why not? Your bookkeeping skills, well, experience being framed. We could help. As crazy as it sounded, I found myself warming to the idea. Tristan and Derek, private eyes, has a nice ring to it. Derek's smile was brighter than the sun. So that's a yes. I pulled him in for a kiss. Let's talk about it in the morning. Right now, I can think of better ways to christen our new place. His eager response told me he wholeheartedly agreed. Sunlight streamed through our new curtains, waking me. Derek was already up, tapping away on his laptop. Morning, detective, I yawned, stretching. He grinned, showing me the screen. I've been researching, look at all these unsolved cases in the city. I peered at the articles, feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation. You're really serious about this, huh? Dead serious, he nodded. But only if you're in. I pulled him in for a kiss. I'm in. God help me, but I'm in. The next few months flew by in a blur. We set up our office, a tiny space above a Chinese takeout place. The smell of lo mein constantly wafting up wasn't ideal, but it was ours. Our first case was small, a missing cat, but the old lady's tears of joy when we found Mr. Whiskers made it all worth it. Slowly, word spread. We tackled cheating spouses, insurance fraud, even a kidnapping that had us both on edge for days. One night, after cracking a particularly tough case, we celebrated with cheap champagne on our fire escape. To Tristan and Derek, private eyes, Derek toasted, clinking his plastic cup against mine. I laughed. Still can't believe this is our life now. He set down his cup, turning serious. Do you ever regret it, taking me in that night? I thought about the past year, the danger, the excitement, the love I'd found. Not for a second. His kiss tasted like champagne and promise. The next morning, as we headed to the office, a familiar face caught my eye. It was my old nosy neighbor, looking lost. Everything okay, Mrs. Johnson? I asked, surprised to see her in this part of town. She wrung her hands. Oh, Tristan, I need help. My grandson's missing. Derek and I exchanged glances. Why don't you come up to our office, he said gently. As we climbed the stairs, I couldn't help but marvel at the twist of fate. A year ago, this woman had been the bane of my existence. Now she was our client. So, I said, settling behind our desk, tell us everything. Derek pulled out a notepad, all business. But as Mrs. Johnson started talking, his foot found mine under the table, giving it a gentle squeeze. I hid my smile. Whatever this new case threw at us, whatever life had in store, I knew one thing for certain. Together we could handle anything. All right, Mrs. Johnson, I said, leaning forward, let's find your grandson. And just like that, we were off on our next adventure.